Hey Bowmaster619, thanks for leaving me a video response. So here's my own little video response to your questions. First up, for your bows, I have to say you did a great job. Keep it up. As far as that Yumi that you made, what it looks like to me is the bow's experiencing cracks because of a couple of things. One is that the pipe could be too old, or by the time you got it, it was old. Let's see, where's it good? Okay. When you're buying pipe, if you can see here, it's actually got the date on it. All PVC pipes need to be marked with this date. So as you can see, this is from March 8th of this year. As a general rule, I usually don't buy a pipe that's older than a month or two, just because a lot of times if it's brand new to the store but it's an older pipe, it's usually been stored out in the sun, and storing pipes in the sun will tend to ruin their flexibility, because UV will damage the plastic, naturally turn it brittle. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Another thing too is if you're in a colder place, so if it snows where you are, if it's below zero or at least below freezing, even around that temperature, the bow can get brittle, and the PVC can get brittle, and it can start getting cracks. So there's a couple things you can do. First thing is, if you want to keep this bow, I suggest taking some strong cord and actually wrapping the spots where the cracks have showed up. And then what you can do is you soak that with either wood glue or an epoxy, just to kind of secure that wrapping. Another thing you should do is you should cover up your bows somehow to protect them from any further UV damage, because ultraviolet light getting into your bow will weaken it. It's not so bad where I am, because the higher temperature makes the bows a little more flexible, but in colder temperature it's very important to keep the bows covered. Let's see. Another thing too is that if you're out in the cold, try to keep the bow as warm as possible. Don't stick it in snow or anything and then try to shoot it. And another thing you want to do is, before you go to shoot your bow, you want to kind of warm it up every shot. Just give it a couple pulls back halfway if the temperature is cold. That way the pipe will get into bending, and then you can shoot a little bit, and then do that again every time you stop shooting. To address your questions for the other bows, this is one of my first full round horse bows. As you can see, I've securely wrapped the handle. Underneath here there's actually fiberglass strapping tape along this whole area, because on these bows, this is where they're going to break, right here. If they ever break, they're going to break right here. There's really not much you can do to prevent that. I wrap it with tape because it'll help keep that from damaging my hand or hitting me as hard. Another thing, I couldn't tell on your bow, but if you can see, this is what the bow looks like strung. With the string off, the bow looks exactly the same, and that's because when I made this bow, like I did in the video, you want it to look strung when it's unstrung. That takes a lot of strain off of it. Honestly, when you draw a bow like this to 28 inches, you're really only drawing it about 20 to 22 inches, because this space here has taken some of the draw. It cuts down on performance, but it'll help save your bow. Another thing too is, if you're in a colder place, in a colder environment, you might want to make your bows a little bit longer, because even if the bow comes out lighter, it will shoot an arrow faster, because PVC gains more, I guess, performance as it gets colder, just because the pipe will snap back faster. And then here's that stovetop flattened bow. As far as your bow, I wouldn't be worried about it snapping in the handle as the other one did, because if you can see, it's thickest in the handle and then it tapers out, and what that does is it draws the stress away from the handle. So where this was most likely to snap right in the handle, this bow is more likely to snap somewhere in this area or in this area. It's not likely to snap in here. And with your other bow, which had the yellow mark up here, the yellowing up here, it's not that big of a deal. The further you are from the handle, the less of a problem it is, unless it's really severe and the tip just snaps off. That said, I also wanted to address another question you asked me a while back on, increasing the draw weight of a bow by going up to the next size of pipe. You can do that. The only thing you need to do is you need to keep in mind that as the pipe sizes increase, they need to be made longer because the pipe is going to be under more strain because there's more material there and it's more rigid. So if you made a 4-foot bow with 3/4 pipe, add at least half a foot to a foot if you're going to go up to 1-inch pipe to make up for that, or it's more likely to snap on you. So that's it. Just keep up the great work. If you have any more questions, just let me know. Thanks for watching my videos, and can't wait to see what else you come up with. Bye.